So first, gentlemen, how are you?
Great, thank you. How are you?
Very well.
I'm alright, thank you.
Good.
So before we get into the music you've been making lately, I'd like to jump back to the beginning because I think for a lot of outsiders it seems like this is a band that's just popped up all of a sudden. Yet I read that you were playing music since you were
13,
yeah, like
We've
7 years ago.
all known each other a really long time.
Yeah.
Just started off like jamming in each other's houses kind of thing. Josh and I have known each other since we were 5 years old.
Primary school.
Yeah, man. And look at us now.
But, so if we go back, and 13 is quite young, but what was kind of the thing that brought you together? What was it? Was it a mutual love for music?
Yeah, it was. It was like we used to listen to bands like, we still do, like Joy Division and Stone Roses and all, a big Manchester scene, and nobody else really in the kind of groups we were hanging out was into it. Everyone was kind of into like Nicki Minaj or whatever it was. Okay. And so we were just kind of like four weirdos who just kind of bonded over that and decided to make a band.
But it was when Nicki Minaj released the music video for Anaconda that we wanted to be a band.
Yeah.
That's kind of when you knew we have to do
a masterpiece.
Well, you mentioned a couple of names, and I wrote down Stone Roses, Joy Division. But then there's you have this list on Spotify, and there's some names that are like A$AP Rocky. Sex Pistols, and so it's quite eclectic. So does everybody have their own kind of
preferences?
In
kind of. I think we all kind of show each other new music all the time, which is great. It's because it's such a group thing. It's kind of like a book club. We all come together with songs, and then almost all the time as well, we come together with a bunch of songs, and then it kind of morphs into one of our songs, which is great.
I think our music definitely represents that as well. Very eclectic. Different styles of music everywhere. Yeah, like you said, like Sex Pistols and A$AP Rocky, and we're just, I don't know, we're just trying to experiment and try and make our own identity using all that kind of
without
stuff.
fitting into a single genre.
Exactly.
And does any of you ever come into the band meeting, whatever, say, hey, I have this new artist, it's really cool, and then everybody goes like,
all the time.
6ix9ine.
Every day we discover someone new.
So can you give me one example or something that one
6ix9ine.
of you brought up? Okay.
6ix9ine.
Yeah, Eli's not about the aggressive
Not
rap.
about
Whereas me and Josh sometimes listen to a bit of aggressive rap.
I think 6ix9ine.
Scream rap.
He looks like a pick and mix from the cinema, doesn't he?
Well, I heard he was a snitch, so
yeah, he's gone, isn't he?
Snitches
that's what I heard. I don't know the insides of it, but that's an interesting thing because you have all these very very separate styles. But what for instance, when you say I don't like 6ix9ine,
wow,
You don't. That's fine.
I
don't like
that song,
Gummo.
No, but for instance, you do like A$AP Rocky, so it's not about the hip hop thing. What makes a song good in it?
There's top tiers of artists in each genre, so to speak. So obviously we could listen to a certain rapper and go, that's just not for us. But someone like A$AP Rocky or someone like Kendrick or Kanye or even pop stars like Dua Lipa, like they're all doing really well for a reason because a lot of their songs are really good. So it's like
I think it's a difference between catchy and a good song, though. You know what I mean? Like I think I don't really like 6ix9ine, but I like A$AP because I feel like there's a lot more weight to A$AP songs.
There's also a lot more
and
creativity,
a lot more feeling. There's too much vibes out there. Everyone's going for like, let's make a vibey tune and like, but there's no weight to like song meaning. That's why I like.
Well, that's an interesting point because I've thought about modern music. I'm a little bit older, so I'm getting
nonsense.
Right.
one of those bitter old people. But what you mentioned, I find interesting. There's not a lot of substance. It's more about the vibe.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the trend in music?
Definitely.
It's kind of like a quick hit kind of thing. It's like that. People putting out songs all the time. Like Drake puts out 2 albums in a year, nearly 18 song albums. How big was what's his name's album?
Just like 20 songs.
20 songs or something.
I think it's kind of like a trend that comes and goes and has done for years and years and years. But then you've got bands who have a very clear and direct message, particularly like where we're from in Ireland at the moment. You've got bands like Fontaine's DC and the Murder Capital, and they're they're bands who do have a lot of substance because their message is very clear in the way they portray themselves and how like they write lyrics even and things like that.
They're very sure of themselves.
So it's a thing that comes and goes, like even genres of music, you know, it does boil down to kind of what's trending
right now and for the last few years, rap's been pretty much at the top of the food chain. But I think especially recently with like Sam Fender being so in the public eye from the UK, and also bands like him, like the Amazon, like all these big UK bands, they're kind of starting to hold.
Sam Fender's really good because he has something to say. Like, it's good to see someone doing well in the pop charts that actually is saying something rather than seeing 6ix9ine up there with Gummo shouting about. I mean,
I don't know, man. Gummo's a good tune.
No, but that's what because I'm not young anymore. But when you're young, and especially a beginning band, well, you're not beginning band, but looking at the musical landscape, how do you perceive kind of what you will be in store for?
I don't know.
It's a good question because it's like,
man, we can't even.
Where's the space for us? Is what you're asking.
We can't even describe what kind of music we play because we just take from everything. So it's really hard to say where we'll be in a few years' time.
It is interesting because I do think there's a lot of rock music is coming back these days. You've got like Sports Team are great. Loads of good UK bands like Shame are unbelievable. They kind of spearheaded it, I think. This like new wave or whatever they're calling it.
I do think there's a lot of people who want to get out of the kind of
new post.
There's a lot of people who want to get out of the just the whole popular, like listening to what everyone's listening to. It's kind of getting more cool to find that niche and to try and find more like
something unique,
alternative music. And 1975 just put out like a ridiculous song, and it's kind of shown that you don't really know what's going to happen, because I feel like they just put out a song, if you haven't heard it, it's like a
it's just like 9 Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson.
It's great. It's great.
Insane.
But it's something that no one expected from them, and they didn't need to do it, but because they've done it, they've kind of opened any door for themselves in the future. They can do anything now, and everyone's gonna be like, that's.
We were all very, very drunk when we first heard that, and we got very scared.
No, I think it's great news though, because it just shows that someone who could have easily just put out another pop song and played it safe, they've decided to do that and not care, and it's going to change things, I think, a lot.
It shows there's no rules when it comes to making good music.
There isn't really a pattern to follow because no one really knows.
It's just that I think the business has become so monopolized. Like, there's no such thing as like a medium-sized band anymore. You're either huge or you're small, because in the middle, you're in this like zone where you're not making any money and you're just in debt all the time. But if you're a small band, obviously you don't have a lot of equipment. So it's just, I think people are starting to find their legs. It's like Spotify's kind of been, and this whole like streaming thing has kind of been like the Wild West almost. And I think everybody's trying to get a grips now. But I think once people can start making money again by making music, I think it'll be a lot more diverse.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And for you, because I'm gonna guess you're not in it for the money, so
no one has ever said, I'm gonna go into the music industry, I hear it pays well.
Yeah, exactly.
Never.
But when 13 is quite young, but when you kind of first started writing the first batch of songs, what was your vision in a sense of
honestly,
what you wanted to do?
Just wanted to play.
You didn't have one, really?
The vision was really just, let's just make songs that would be fun to play, because let's pretend like we're in a rock band.
Yeah.
That was really it.
And it wasn't even like we're going to be the coolest kids in school, or we didn't really even have that many friends for a long time. But there was just something great about coming together and creating something, really.
We just kind of wanted to be our like musical heroes and play their songs, and that was really what kicked it all off. And then once that happens, you start writing your own songs, and then we're still
getting addicted to it.
Yeah, we're still finding our legs, because we haven't even put out an album yet. But we're still finding our legs to find out what that message is going to be and what are we all about. But it's exciting, kind of discovering new things.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it was writing the first song, I don't know if it's the first song you wrote, but it won't always be like this. Was there kind of a turning point where now we have a song that we like, that we made ourselves?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we had so many different versions of that song before the final version, and like the meaning of it sort of just like kept changing throughout the years. But then
gets to a point where you kind of go, okay, that's what this is about. The lyrics come to a place and the music came to a place where it was just like, okay, now it's time to put this song
It's
in.
at a level where we're happy with.
It's the same with Ice Cream Sunday. Ice Cream Sunday is older than It Won't Always Be Like This. Like way older, like 4 years old. But that song, we we tried doing so many different things with it and taking it new directions and changing lyrics and all that kind of stuff. But in the end, we ended up with something that was really close to the demo, because it's just better to, we try and serve the song as much as you can, and just let the song be the song.
Yeah.
We're just kind of the speakers.
Don't want to force too much in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if we go to Ice Cream Sunday, then I wrote a line down. I'm in pursuit of happiness, and here's to getting hurt, to being down in the dirt.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong, but the way I saw it was about maybe making it as a band. Maybe kind of having meeting that failure, and then I think you've played pubs and small gigs for a while. So
Yeah.
what was that time, that period like? Just going to those first gigs.
So fun.
Yeah.
And it still is. We haven't, like, I think it's just stayed the same level of fun throughout. We were just driving ourselves around Ireland playing gigs and being excited by it, getting a dressing room and like all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that song is kind of, it does. I never thought of it actually as a reflection of that time, but it really is.
I think you're gonna. That's kind of happened with a lot of our songs. It's kind of there's an underlying theme of us actually not really knowing what we're doing yet, because we are young and we are kind of growing up with our music, and we have to grow up under the eye. So it's kind of every decision's important these days. The clothes you wear and the music you listen to, but we're just trying to do it organically, I guess.
Yeah.
With that idea of being down in the dirt, and then I suppose you have to go through all those failures to learn and to get better.
Yeah.
So what were some of the difficult things you had to encounter early on?
We had a
Tire on the way down to the
Flat tires. I'll have a song about that on the way. What else do we have?
Wheels on the bus.
There was a flat
Wheels
tire
on the bus.
incident. We were on our way down to Limerick to support the Academic. We were another Irish band, great. And we got a flat tire on the way down, so we were super late. It was raining, pulled over at like a toll station. People
Missed the
were
sound check.
beeping at us.
Just us as well. It was literally just us.
It was literally just us in the car, pumping up the tire. We're like, what
We
do we
didn't
do?
even know what to do with
Driving
the tire.
down the rest of the way on like pretty much a flat tire on the motorway, going like 60. And so we got to like, it's called Dolan's, the place where we're playing, but there's 3 of them in Limerick. Who knew? There's 3 Dolan's pubs. So we went to one, it was the wrong one. Went to another one, that was the wrong one. Then
We showed up at the place.
I literally reversed up to the like door of the place. Was
The
like,
guy
"Lads,
was like,
get
"You're
the
not allowed
gear
to
out
stop
right
here."
now."
We're like, "We're getting on right now. We have
Yeah,
to go."
yeah. The guy came around and was like, "You're going on stage right now." He was like, but then someone was like, "Oh no, we've pushed your stage time 10 minutes, so you're fine." So I was like, "Grand." So I went and parked the car. The lads went in with all the gear. I went into the toilet to like throw all my stuff, and they started playing the first notes
before
of the
you were on
song.
stage.
Before I was on stage, so I just fucking legged it out, and we did the gig, but it was messy. I think I hit someone in the head with a microphone.
You did.
It was a weird gig. We knocked
that
over
was
the
terrible.
drum kit was on the
Knocked
floor.
over the drum kit.
That
There
was
was a lot of anger on that stage, but it was good.
Yeah, there's a lot of times like playing to nobody, and it's a killer. It's almost harder to play to 12 people than it is to play to like 300.
Definitely, I think.
So it's a morale killer, but you just have to keep doing it. Yeah.
What keeps you in it then? Because, and this is what I like to ask beginning bands or bands that go through this, because touring life and the life of musician is not for everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So what keeps you going kind of in
The
those
fact-
moments?
The fact that we can't do anything else and
Yeah.
don't want to do anything else.
Yeah, we don't want
We
to do
love
it.
it so much.
I think
you know.
a good team as well. Just being
Yeah,
around
great team.
good, healthy people that make you take the right decisions.
We
Yeah.
all drive each other, which is great. Like we all inspire each other to keep going.
Also, I think the fact that we've been such good friends for a long time means we're kind of like brothers, so we support each other in that way. And like none of us, we're all as strong as each other, really. So a decision Eli makes affects all of us pretty much, and vice versa, which is a good way to be in a band.
It's collective.
Yeah.
It's a co-op.
But I suppose in terms of the small shows, I think the biggest reward is when you can fill them. So it's like, even if it is a small show and even if you are not making any money, you have to make your own way there. If the people are there to see the shows and they're enjoying it,
Yeah.
it's really, really rewarding.
And talking to the people.
And
after
yeah,
the
you get
show,
to talk to
especially
them as well.
small,
It's really important to
really
do
good.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of an interesting thing as well, because you've been releasing, if I'm not mistaken, music since 2016ish.
Yeah.
About that, yeah.
And then now, I think the show in Amsterdam is sold out, and you have all these different sold out
Yes.
shows. So what is it like to be a relatively new band but have all these shows?
It's
sold out?
great.
It's mental.
It's amazing. It's kind of mind blowing, really. 'Cause
Mental.
it's our first time in pretty much all these places on the tour. So it's like to get to come to say Amsterdam and play a sold out show for your first time. It's definitely a privilege.
Or Nijmegen.
Or not.
Nijmegen.
I mean, I don't want to show off, but we could pick any of the dates. But no, it's such a privilege really, and not all bands get that, and we're aware. So we're hoping we can provide on the show. We put a lot of hard work into it to put on a good show for everyone.
And this is then my only question that kind of refers to your father. But having that famous, and it's not specifically about your father. I've asked this.
Is it my dad or his dad?
No, but
Maybe my dad is a great guy to see.
but is it almost like a blessing or a curse, kind of? Because I can imagine that there being a lot of pressure on them as well.
Yeah, no, for sure it is. Definitely. I mean, like, obviously, like, a lot of people who listen to my dad's music come to the gigs, and that's fine. We just see it as like anybody who comes to the gig is people are people, and they're listening to our music, and you know, it's like it's good because any doors will be open for you if you want them, and you can try, but they'll shut twice as fast if you're not good. And it's kind of a drive to. It's really a drive for us to prove people wrong. Almost.
It's almost good because it's like. We know we're not bad, and we know we have what it takes, so we're not actually worried about it. And we know that like, as long as you have good music, it will always prevail. But we've already experienced times where it's like we just get shit for no reason, and it's like it's gonna happen to us, and it's just the way the world is. People just want a story.
It's all good. We just want to play music.
It's all good, man.
I'm happy for anyone to come to our shows as long as they leave with a T-shirt or a CD
and a hug from this man.
and a hug from me.
Fair enough.
Hugs, lads.
Well, getting back to the music then, because we released a couple of songs over Oklahoma is kind of a different one out of the batch. So how did that one come about?
Well, we have that's because we had the song Oklahoma, and it kind of fit really well with the narrative of It Won't Always Be Like This, and but we didn't want to record it fully because it's meant to be like a full, like, you know, with like electric guitars and bass and synths and stuff. But we kind of thought, well, let's put something else that shows like our other side with It Won't Always Be Like This, and we just recorded an acoustic version of it. But the main version of that song will be on the album, hopefully. Yeah.
Is it a true story?
Yeah. Or is it? I don't know.
Well, but because is there, for instance, do you write the lyrics, or is it something you do collectively, like you mentioned earlier?
Sometimes it can be a collective thing, but that one was.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to say I was the one with the girl from Oklahoma, but it wasn't me.
It's not just about a girl from Oklahoma. It was kind of like a coming of age kind of. Well, it was a time when we were all let loose in London, and like meeting new people, and we were all kind of, oh shit, we're really old now. We're like we're not kids anymore.
You can't fall back on the whole.
It's kind of about like it's kind of about freedom of choice and possibility and all that. You know, right? You can do anything you want.
It is a very collaborative process, the songwriting. In our band, which is a great thing. Everything. Sometimes like someone could come to us with like a demo on their computer or something, and then we'll all just start building upon that, and each sort of add our own little, I suppose, twist on it, and our own little flavor, depending on what we play, I suppose, comes down to it.
Yeah, I think it's to every band, but it's just for us. What works the best is just a collective. It's just we all rub off on each other really well in a non-weird way.
We like each other's company. It's good.
Yeah,
that's good. Keep it that way. And then the song, I suppose, My Honest Face is the one that really sticks out and that has done quite well as well.
Very well.
Yeah, that's.
Go ahead.
No, sorry.
Well, when you write a song like that, do you kind of feel, well, this is actually, can you say that about your own music?
Absolutely not.
No, you definitely don't.
The mad thing is that with that song, we only started writing that like last December or something. Yeah,
it was like 2 or 3 months before we put it out. We recorded it.
Yeah. And we brought it to the studio, and our producer, who is some sort of weird Jesus genius-like character, and Rob as well, said to us, this should be a single. And we were a bit like, at first, but then obviously they knew what was right.
See, we had in mind to do an EP originally, and we had it won't always be like this kind of. Not, I don't want to say at the top, but we had it for a long time, and we really thought it was a single. And then we had Oklahoma done, which we thought was a lovely kind of an EP filler, but showed a nice side. And then there's another song, there's another place that we had. And then we had Honest Face, and we were like, oh, it's a good song. Maybe that should go at the top of the EP. And then we put the single out as it went. We had discussions about it, and they were like, why don't we just give it a try as a single? Because people were enjoying it that we were playing it to, and we hadn't really thought about it. And then one day we were just like, yeah, why don't we just try it? And I think we're glad we did that because it's really done well.
Yeah, it
it's
has.
blown us away.
Do you remember writing the song? Kind of what the mindset was in
I remember one day I did the bass and Eli had the demo of like the whole, which is always cool to know. So it was like, I remember putting those two things together, and then other things happened. We got a good, pretty much a pretty similar sounding demo done ourselves. That's how usually we work.
We played it for the first time at a show in Castle Bar.
Okay.
Oh my God, we did.
He was like, okay, we're playing this tonight, and we were all kind of like, maybe
Yeah.
not, but we trusted him. So
Yeah, that was fun actually. We should. I'm sure
Every
there's a
time
video
we play
somewhere.
a song, like last minute, it always works out well.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But we're happy that we did it, because then we kind of were like, oh, let's get in and start kind of looking what we can do with this song.
Yeah,
which is
a
really
big
cool.
thing for us is that we try and gig our songs like if
Because that's
before
where
we
you're gonna be playing
before we
them.
release them. Like a lot of the songs we've recorded that haven't been put out yet because we've already started working on the album. They've been paused while we go out and gig and with those songs, and we've developed them through how people react and what things work live. We're always thinking live because that's really where we want to excel at the most. So.
But studio
So
is
you test the songs out.
Pretty
bit,
much,
see
yeah.
what
For
works.
sure, yeah. And you kind of like, you test a song out at like a gig, then you go back to the studio, then you test it again, and you might change something when you go back into the studio about the song, which is cool.
So you get instant feedback, which
Yeah,
is
it's
pretty
the
cool.
best way to test if a song's good or not, because you actually have people's facial reaction right in front of you.
Yeah.
Or like, or they start jumping up and down, or they
They
look
fall
away
asleep.
and they go on their phone. You
They
know
fall
what I mean?
asleep.
So it's a really good way of testing songs. I think it's just that's how we do it, and everybody else should do it.
In terms of the lyrics, and Eli, I'm going to leave you out of this. The three of you, what do you think? And maybe you've discussed this, but what is the song about?
Which one?
Honest
Face?
Yeah.
It's very like, it won't always be like this, as it's like coming of age.
Again, a coming of age song.
It's trying to figure out what you have to say, in a sense. It's like what is your? It's one of those things. As Josh says, like it won't always be like this, in that it's sort of like trying to figure out exactly what it is that you have to say, who you are, and the awkward stages that you have to go through in order to get to where it is that you're trying to go, I suppose.
Yeah, I think instead of us pretending to be rock stars, it's pretty much just us saying we actually aren't rock stars, but we want to be, and that's the honest truth. Because it is a pretty honest song. It's just like, this is what we want to be, this is how we are, and how do we do it. It's kind of
Honest is in the fucking title. We're not lying, lads.
Fair enough. Well, with that in mind, then wanting to be rock stars, and you say it's difficult to gauge where you will be in a couple of years' time or whatever. But what is it about kind of that idea of a rock star that is appealing? In a sense, it sounds like a weird question.
Yeah, it is weird.
and I guess we shouldn't sell it as a whole rock star package, because it's more for us. As much as we want to be rock stars, every kid wants to be a rock star. It's more once we've heard our music and once we've seen what we could do and how we could affect people with the music, we just want it to be seen by as many people.
We're very
as
thirsty
possible.
now.
Yeah.
Very
I
thirsty.
think we just want to make, at the end of the day, as sustainable a product as possible. We want our music to...
Fucking hell.
50% stocks. 50% stocks transferred every week.
Sorry, let me rephrase
Yeah,
that. We
you
want our
want-
music... We want to keep writing songs for as long as we possibly can. Keep ourselves as relevant.
Our music is good, and we want a lot of people to hear
What
it.
he said, forget everything I'm going to say. That's good. Our music's good. We want to
Inhaler for dummies.
I think on that note, gentlemen,
Thank you
Right,
thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, William.
Thank you.